So, there's no point having questions without answers. Understanding the text. Number one, what shape would the outspread wings fit into? Now, a lot of this is going to be like pretty ridiculous, into a elongated rectangle. But not really the elongated rectangle, more the boxes built inside the slanted lines that are inside the large rectangle. So that's a bit of a ridiculous question. What type of lines mark out the wings, the slanted lines? How many wings will be drawn? Overall, 4, I think. Dragonflies have 4 wings, apparently. Don't know, actually. Reading for meaning. Where is the guideline for the dragonfly's body drawn? I think we're talking about the center line, so that we've got, but again, guidelines for the body. I mean, we've got the center line. Really, the rectangle itself is a guideline for the overall body. It tells us where it begins and ends. So you could argue that the rectangle is as well, but I think we're talking about the central line. Besides the large eyes, what else is drawn on the head? Well, we've got the feelers and strong biting jaws. It doesn't tell us how to draw those, it just says they're there, so please draw them. You can put them any way you like because they haven't told you not to. How many legs will be drawn? Again, 4. And that doesn't actually sound right. I'm sure dragonflies don't have 4 legs. What would you do with guidelines after you finish drawing? You would remove them, otherwise everyone can see that you've cheated. It's almost as bad as tracing. What are darning needles? Why are dragonflies compared to these? Darning needles are for sewing. They're what we use for fixing holes in clothing like socks and whatever. We darn them. Dragonflies, because they're long and sharp and pointy, so they're compared to the devil's needles. Complete the following table of information. The parts, well, the head has eyes and jaws. The body is long and unattractive. The legs are at least 2 short. And the wings are like glass, I think they said they are. They're like patterned, they're glassy, patterned with many tiny veins. Why do you think the information about the dragonfly has been provided together with the instructions on how to draw it? So that you can draw in details, I guess, so that you can add something, so that you can learn more from the actual features of the instructions rather than just sit there and draw it. As I said before, most people learn by doing something. So a great way to learn about how dragonflies actually look and work is to draw one. And that's really, really true. When I was very young, I learned a lot about motorcycles from building toy and model motorcycles. I was putting the engines together, and you don't normally get to take an engine out of a motorcycle and look at it, but you can with a toy. You take it out and say, what's this? And that's the head, that's the valves, that's the exhaust. Well, how does that work? And then you start asking questions and you start learning by playing. If there are no lines and shapes to guide you, do you think it would be easy to draw a dragonfly? Now this is a question that's very much dependent on you. Are you a good artist? Are you capable of seeing the whole and creating something? If so, yes. I could do that. I'm a pretty fair artist. I could probably draw that. But some people just can't draw at all. They're good at other things. Do you think these directions would be easier to follow if someone demonstrated how to do it on a videotape or in a video? Personally, again, this is a question that everyone's going to have a different answer for. Personally, I think yes. I think if you were to watch a video where somebody was drawing it out and then explaining it, I think that would probably make it slightly easier. But the downside of that is when it's on paper, it doesn't go away. I wouldn't want to watch a video where they're constantly drawing new lines because then I'd have to run it back and it would be kind of confusing. So sometimes just having the paper laid out is probably slightly easier, but yeah, it would work. Describe other ways you can draw a dragonfly. I'm going to have to hold this, it keeps falling off. Describe other ways you can draw a dragonfly just simply by copying it. You could use a grid. A grid pattern often works. I think you probably used one in kindergarten where you've got gridded paper and it's like this one up here, this one down here. You could fill in the numbers. You could draw by numbers. That's another way of doing it. So you might have from 1 to 10 and you just join the dots. There's lots of different ways to do it, depending on your level of skill. The harder ways of doing it are going to have the best results because they require more skill. You have to build up to those standards. That's pretty much it. There's not really much to this. Summarize the instructions for drawing a dragonfly. I mean, I didn't ask you to do this, but I think it's pretty straightforward. There's really not much to this.
All too easy.
Still struggling with the mic. Okay. I think we've finally figured out the mic. A bit too late, but we've done it. So yeah, there's not really much to this. I think the value of this is in explaining and showing you that sometimes instructions need help. Sometimes you need to have somebody in front of you pointing, oh, it's down there. We saw that in the videos last week where he said, yeah, it's just go at the main road and off you go. And without someone saying, oh, the main road and down you go, it's very difficult to follow that. Just like it would be with this. Without the instructions, without the illustrations rather, this wouldn't work at all. You wouldn't be able to follow it, wouldn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense unless you've literally got these in front of you. Would a video make it easier? For some people, yes. Some people, I guess not. Depends on the person. Some of you, the better artists, would probably just look at the last picture and that was all you'd need. You could just draw from that. Some of you couldn't do that. Some of you couldn't even do it if we had the instructions. But that's not what this is all about. These instructions are there to help you draw this. And I think the intention of this exercise would be so that you learn something about dragonflies. That's why we've put the information embedded in there. I think it's the same thing with a lot of things. Drawing something is a good way of learning about it, especially for younger children. But all of us, to a degree, all of us learn by doing stuff. That's why this, well, online doesn't work at all, but that's why classrooms don't really work that well. We really do need to be in front of a human being and doing stuff. Like this kind of thing on the board, this kind of maths. Doing these exercises means you're able to use them. If you were just told this equals this, and you never had any practice with it, it wouldn't really be any value. So doing these exercises does help you do something with it. Whether you hate maths or not, at least you're doing something and you're learning something from it and you're actually picking up a skill. And that's what's important. So I think this is probably a good way of teaching a younger child a little bit about dragonflies, what a dragonfly is, what it looks like. I think if you had a video of this with somebody speaking in the right way and maybe putting pictures of a dragonfly, videos in the background, that would probably work pretty well to really cement this message home. But overall, I think this is aimed at younger children. I don't think there's any more really that we can find of great value in it. So I'm sure most of you got the right answers or very similar. I don't think this is one of the best exercises in the book, unfortunately. Okay, thanks very much.